Get your ghetto ass out of my hotel before I call the cops. Derek Lawson snatched the black card from Maya Richardson's fingers and slammed it onto the marble floor. His polished Oxford shoe ground down hard, twisting the $5,000 limit Centurion card under his heel like a cigarette butt. "This is embarrassing for everyone," he sneered, loud enough for the entire lobby to hear. "Whatever corner you got this fake card from, take it back." The front desk clerk, Emily, giggled nervously. "Should I get the mop? That card probably has diseases on it." Maya's canvas sneakers didn't move an inch. Her faded jeans and white cotton shirt had triggered every racist instinct these people possessed. Tonight, they witnessed employees who had no idea they were destroying their own careers with each cruel word. Have you ever been called trash in a place where you owned everything? Maya bent down slowly, picking up her trampled card. The black metal felt warm from Derek's shoe print. She straightened, sliding it into her worn leather messenger bag without a word. "I have a penthouse reservation," she said quietly, placing her phone on the marble counter. The confirmation email glowed on the screen. "Sterling Grand Hotel, penthouse suite. Guest, Maya Richardson." Derek barely glanced at it. "Anyone can Photoshop this garbage? You think we're stupid?" Behind him, Emily typed frantically on her computer. "I'm checking our system now. There is a Maya Richardson registered." But she looked up at Maya, then back at Derek. "This can't be right." "What can't be right?" Maya asked. "Well, the real Maya Richardson would be," Emily gestured vaguely, "different, important, you know." Derek leaned over the counter, his voice dripping with condescension. "Let me break this down for you, sweetheart. This is a 5-star establishment. We host Fortune 500 CEOs, A-list celebrities, foreign diplomats. Look around." He gestured at the crystal chandeliers, the imported Italian marble, the hand-carved mahogany reception desk. "You see anyone else here dressed like they just rolled out of a Walmart parking lot?" Maya's conference call with Yamamoto Industries in Tokyo was approaching, the one to close a massive manufacturing deal that had taken months to negotiate. The lobby's atmosphere shifted as other guests became aware of the confrontation. An elderly white couple in designer evening wear whispered behind jeweled hands. A business executive in an expensive suit paused his phone conversation to watch the spectacle. A young woman in the seating area, Jennifer Lee, discreetly started filming with her phone. She opened Instagram Live, whispering urgently, "Y'all, I'm witnessing some serious discrimination at this fancy Chicago hotel right now. This is insane." The viewer count climbed steadily. Derek turned back to Maya, his confidence growing with each passing second. "I've been working in luxury hospitality for years. I can spot a scammer from across the lobby. The way you walk, the way you talk, that cheap bag you're carrying, it's all wrong." He pointed at her canvas sneakers. "You know what those shoes tell me? They tell me you take the bus. They tell me you shop at thrift stores. They tell me you've never seen the inside of a place like this, except maybe cleaning it." Emily giggled behind her hand. "Derek, you're terrible, but also not wrong." Maya opened her messenger bag slightly, revealing the corner of her first-class United boarding pass to Tokyo. Next to it, the edge of her Black American Express Centurion card, the one Derek had just destroyed. "I understand you're busy," Maya said, her voice steady, "but I really do need to check in." Derek's laugh was sharp and cruel. "Busy lady? I've got time. I've got all the time in the world to explain reality to you." He leaned closer, his breath as smelling of coffee and arrogance. This isn't some community center where you can just walk in and demand things. This is private property, my property to protect. Patricia Chen, the assistant manager, emerged from the back office carrying a stack of reports. Derek immediately grabbed her arm, his voice loud enough to carry across the marble lobby. Pat, we've got a situation here. Someone is trying to scam their way into the penthouse with fake documents and a sob story. Patricia's eyes swept over Maya from head to toe. The judgment was instant and complete. Her lip curled slightly as she took in the faded jeans, the simple white shirt, the worn messenger bag. Ma'am, I'm going to need to see some real identification, and I mean government-issued photo ID that proves you can afford that suite. The Instagram Live viewer count kept rising. Comments started flooding in with outrage and calls for accountability. Maya pulled out her driver's license. Patricia examined it like she was a forensics expert, holding it up to the light, checking the hologram, even smelling it. This could be fake too, Patricia announced loudly. Identity theft is a serious crime. Derek, should we call the police now or wait for security? Derek nodded sagely. Good thinking. We can't be too careful these days. Some people will try anything for a free night in luxury. He pulled out his phone and started dialing. Maya watched Derek's performance, his theatrical concern for hotel security. She noticed how he kept glancing at the other guests, making sure his authority was on full display. This wasn't just discrimination. This was entertainment for him. Emily leaned over to Patricia. Should I cancel the penthouse reservation? Open it up for someone who actually belongs here? Absolutely, Patricia replied. No point holding a room for someone who clearly can't afford it. Maya's phone buzzed with a text from her assistant about the Yamamoto Industries call. She looked up at Derek and Patricia, both standing with their arms crossed like sentinels guarding a castle. Behind them, Emily was already typing, presumably canceling her reservation. In the seating area, Jennifer Lee's live stream had exploded with viewers. The comments were a mix of outrage and support, but the damage was spreading beyond this lobby. I'm ready, Maya whispered to herself. Derek snapped his fingers toward the lobby's corner. Marcus, we need you up here. Security Chief Marcus Thompson emerged from behind a marble pillar, his 6-foot frame cutting an imposing figure in the Navy uniform. Something about this situation felt different, wrong. What's the problem, Derek? Marcus asked, his eyes scanning Maya's face. There was something familiar about her, but he couldn't place it. We've got someone trying to scam their way into the penthouse, Derek explained, his voice carrying across the lobby like a town crier. Fake documents, fake cards, the whole 9 yards. She's been here, refusing to leave. Derek gestured dramatically at Maya. Look at her, Marcus. Does she look like penthouse material to you? I mean, seriously, look. Marcus looked down at Maya. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to come with me. Officer Thompson, Maya said quietly, reading his name tag. Before you do anything, I strongly suggest you check your employee handbook, section on discriminatory behavior specifically. Marcus paused, confused. What are you talking about? Just check it, please. Derek rolled his eyes. She's trying to confuse you with legal mumbo-jumbo, classic scammer tactic. They watch YouTube videos about tenant rights and think they know the law. Jennifer Lee's live stream had exploded with viewers. She held her phone steady, whispering urgently to her audience, "This is getting crazy, y'all. They called security on this woman for literally nothing. The racism is so blatant, I can't even." The comments were multiplying. Patricia grabbed Maya's phone from the counter. Let me take a closer look at this so-called reservation. She scrolled through the email, her frown deepening. This is sophisticated. Whoever made this fake really knew what they were doing. Look at these details, Patricia continued, holding up the phone. Professional email format, correct hotel letterhead, even the right confirmation number as structure. But we know it's fake because, she gestured at Maya again, because look at her. It's not fake, Maya said simply. Sure it's not, Patricia snorted. And I'm Oprah Winfrey. Derek, should we call the police now? This is clearly criminal fraud. Derek was enjoying himself now, playing to his audience of hotel guests and live stream viewers. You know what I love about my job? Protecting honest, paying customers from people who think they can just walk in here and take what they want. He gestured toward the elderly couple in evening wear. Mr. and Mrs. Henderson have been staying with us for years. They pay top rates and never cause problems. They dress appropriately. They respect our establishment. Mrs. Henderson shifted uncomfortably in her seat, but her husband nodded approvingly. Derek continued his performance, his voice growing louder and more theatrical. But then you get people who think they can waltz in here with their fake documents and their attitude demanding penthouse suites like they own the place, like they deserve something they clearly can't afford. He pointed at Maya's messenger bag. You see that bag? I've seen better luggage at a gas station. And those shoes? Those are work shoes, manual labor shoes, not penthouse shoes. Emily giggled from behind the counter. Derek, you're so bad. But you're not wrong, though. Maybe she does own the place, called out a voice from across the lobby. Everyone turned. A young black man in a business suit was walking toward them, having just entered through the revolving doors. His briefcase bore the logo of a major consulting firm. Derek's face darkened. Excuse me, sir, but this is a private matter. The man laughed, looking around at the crowd of onlookers and phones recording. Half of Chicago is watching this on Instagram Live right now. This is about as private as Times Square on New Year's Eve. Marcus stepped between them. Sir, I'm going to need you to what? Stand here in the lobby of a public hotel. I'm a guest here too, officer. I've been staying here on business. He pulled out his key card, flashing it at Marcus. And this is the most disgusting display of racism I've witnessed in this establishment. Derek's confidence wavered slightly. He hadn't expected backup. Sir, you don't understand the situation. This woman is trying to commit fraud. What I understand, the businessman replied, is that you've been harassing a black woman without any real evidence of wrongdoing. What I understand is that your assumptions are based purely on her appearance. More hotel guests were gathering now. A family with teenagers looked uncomfortable but curious. A couple in their 40s whispered urgently to each other while filming with their phones. Patricia was still examining Maya's phone when her own device buzzed. She glanced at it and her face went pale. Derek, she whispered, we might have a problem. What kind of problem? I just got a text from corporate. They're asking about some kind of situation involving discrimination complaints. Derek waved dismissively. Probably routine. Don't worry about it. But Patricia's hands were shaking as she continued reading. No, Derek. This says they've been monitoring social media mentions of our hotel. They want a full report about any incidents involving racial discrimination. They're asking specifically about tonight, about the Chicago location, about the night shift. Derek's face began to drain of color. That's impossible. How would they even know? Because it's trending on social media, the businessman called out. because thousands of people are watching this happen in real time. Jennifer Lee's live stream had reached thousands of viewers. The hashtag Sterling Hotel Racism was starting to gain traction. Local Chicago influencers were sharing the stream, adding their own commentary about discrimination in luxury establishments. Marcus was reading something on his phone, too. His expression grew increasingly troubled. "Derek," he said slowly, "I think we need to step back and reassess this situation." "Are you kidding me?" Derek snapped. "Since when do we let potential criminals dictate hotel policy?" "Since the live stream of this interaction has gone viral," Marcus replied. "Since corporate is apparently watching. Since this woman mentioned employee handbook sections that I'm now looking up." He held up his phone, showing Derek a screenshot. "The section is about immediate termination for discriminatory behavior." "Why would she know that?" Derek's jaw tightened. "I don't care if the president himself is watching. This is my shift, my lobby, my decision. I've been managing this hotel for years without a single complaint." "Actually," Emily said quietly, looking at her computer screen, "that's not exactly true. There have been multiple formal complaints filed against our location." Derek spun around. "What? Why wasn't I told?" "Because they were mostly about you," Emily admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. The lobby fell silent except for the soft ping of Jennifer's live stream notifications. Maya looked around the lobby. The elderly couple was whispering nervously. The business guest was filming with his own phone now. The family with teenagers was openly staring. Jennifer was practically bouncing in her seat as her viewer count climbed. Maya reached into her messenger bag and pulled out a leather portfolio. "Officer Thompson," she said quietly, "that employee handbook section. You might want to read it out loud." Marcus pulled out his phone, scrolling to the employee handbook app. His voice carried across the silent lobby as he read aloud the policy on immediate termination for discriminatory behavior based on race or perceived economic status. Derek's face went ashen. "Why are you reading that?" Maya opened her leather portfolio slowly, like a magician preparing her final trick. She placed a single sheet of paper on the marble counter. The Sterling Hotel Group letterhead gleamed under the crystal chandeliers. Derek squinted at the document. What is this?" "Your quarterly performance report," Maya said softly. Revenue had fallen significantly this quarter. Guest satisfaction ratings were low. Staff turnover was high. She pointed to specific lines on the report. Average nightly occupancy was below industry standard for luxury hotels. Your department is failing every measurable metric. Patricia leaned over Derek's shoulder, her face draining of color as she read. "How do you have this? These are confidential corporate documents." Maya reached into her portfolio again, retrieving her business card. She placed it next to the report. The black lettering was simple, elegant. Maya Richardson, Chief Executive Officer, Richardson Ventures. Derek stared at the card like it was written in hieroglyphics. "I don't understand." "Let me help you understand," Maya said, pulling out her iPad. She swiped to a specific screen and turned it around so everyone could see the Sterling Hotel Group corporate website leadership page. Her professional headshot smiled back at them from the screen. Same face, same woman, but wearing a tailored business suit instead of jeans and canvas sneakers. Maya Richardson, majority shareholder. Richardson Ventures had acquired Sterling Hotel Group. Ms. Richardson, now controlled a significant ownership stake in the luxury hotel chain. The silence in the lobby was deafening. You could hear the soft hum of the air conditioning, the distant tick of the antique grandfather clock, the barely audible pings from Jennifer's live stream. Then the lobby erupted. Jennifer's live stream chat exploded with reactions. Yo, she owns the hotel. No way, no way, no way. Derek is so fired. I am screaming. Plot twist of the century. This is better than Netflix. Somebody called the ambulance for Derek. Derek's legs buckled. He grabbed the marble counter to steady himself, his knuckles white against the dark stone. That's impossible. You can't be... I can't be what, Derek? Maya asked, her voice still calm as glass. I can't be successful. I can't own a billion-dollar company. I can't afford a penthouse suite in my own hotel. She gestured at her simple outfit. Or do you mean I can't look like this and still be your boss's boss's boss? Marcus stepped back, his hand moving instinctively to his security radio. Patricia's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. Ma'am, if we had known, there was no way to identify. You weren't wearing... I wasn't wearing what? Maya interrupted gently. A sign that said billionaire, a tiara. What exactly should successful black women wear to be treated with basic human dignity in their own establishments? The businessman from the lobby started slow clapping. Best hotel drama I've ever witnessed, and I travel constantly for consulting work. Other guests began pulling out their phones, realizing they were witnessing something extraordinary. The elderly couple looked mortified. The family with teenagers was recording everything. Emily was frantically typing on her computer, pulling up Maya's actual reservation. Oh God, it's real. The penthouse reservation is real and it's been paid for in advance. She looked up at Maya with tears in her eyes. The payment came from Richardson Ventures' corporate account. Derek's voice cracked. Ma'am, if you had just told us who you were. I did tell you who I was, Maya replied, her tone never rising above conversational level. I told you I was Maya Richardson with a confirmed reservation. You decided that wasn't enough based on my appearance. She pulled out another document from her portfolio. This is the acquisition agreement. Richardson Ventures purchased a Sterling Hotel Group. We now own properties in multiple countries. Maya pointed to Derek's name tag. Derek Lawson, you work for me. She turned to Patricia. Patricia Chen, you work for me. She looked at Emily. Emily, you work for me. Derek tried to straighten up, attempting to salvage some dignity. Ma'am, there's been a terrible misunderstanding. If you could just... Maya held up her hand. The only misunderstanding, Derek, was yours. You assumed a black woman in casual clothes couldn't possibly belong in your hotel. You made that assumption in front of witnesses on camera, and with a spectacular confidence. Before taking her conference call with Tokyo, let me share why I'm really here tonight. Maya pulled out a printed email chain from her portfolio. The subject line was visible to everyone. Discrimination complaints. Sterling Grand Chicago. Urgent review required. There were numerous formal complaints in recent times. Maya announced the many guests who felt unwelcome, judged, or discriminated against at this location. Complaints about staff assumptions, service disparities, and outright hostility. She flipped through the pages. Guest reports include staff treated me like I didn't belong, assumed I couldn't afford my room, made comments about my appearance, And my personal favorite, manager asked if I was sure I was in the right hotel. She looked directly at Derek. So I came to investigate personally. Thank you for the demonstration. Jennifer Lee's live stream had reached even more viewers. The story was being picked up by local news accounts. The hashtag was trending in Chicago. Derek tried one last desperate move. Ma'am, there's been a misunderstanding. If you could just forgive this one incident. Maya's phone rang. The caller ID showed Yamamoto Industries Tokyo. She answered without breaking eye contact with Derek. Yes, I'm ready for our call. I'm conducting the audit I mentioned earlier. I'll have full findings for our board meeting tomorrow. She paused, listening. Yes, the discrimination issues are worse than we thought, but I have a comprehensive solution that I'll be implementing immediately. Derek's face had gone from red to white to a sickly green. Patricia was quietly crying behind the counter. Marcus stood frozen, his hand still hovering near his radio. Maya ended her call and looked around the lobby. The crowd of guests had grown, all filming or live streaming the aftermath. Now, Maya said, opening her laptop, let's discuss your future employment status. Maya opened her laptop and connected it to the lobby's wall-mounted display screen. The Sterling Hotel Group logo appeared, followed by a presentation titled Operational Audit, Chicago Location. Let me share some numbers with you, Maya said, her voice carrying the quiet authority of someone who'd built companies from scratch. The tone wasn't aggressive or vindictive. It was the calm professionalism of a CEO delivering results. Derek stared at the screen in growing horror as Maya began her presentation. This wasn't just embarrassment anymore. This was his entire career unraveling in real time, broadcast to thousands of strangers on the internet. The first slide appeared with a stark white text on a black background. The Chicago location's monthly revenue had dropped significantly over the past year. Guest satisfaction scores had plummeted, while the industry standard for luxury hotels remained high. Staff turnover had reached alarming rates. These numbers tell a story, Maya continued, advancing to the next slide. They tell the story of a hotel where guests don't feel welcome, where employees don't want to work, and where management has lost control of basic service standards. Patricia gripped the marble counter, her knuckles white. Derek Lawson, night manager. In recent times, numerous formal complaints have been filed specifically about interactions with you. Derek's face went ashen. That's not possible. I would have been told. You were told, Maya interrupted, clicking to another slide. There were written warnings issued to your personnel file. Your supervisor attempted corrective coaching sessions. Your last performance review was poor. Your department's guest satisfaction scores are the lowest in our entire North American portfolio. Guests specifically mentioned feeling unwelcome, judged, and discriminated against during night shift interactions. Jennifer Lee's live stream had exploded with viewers. Comments were flowing fast. She's destroying them with facts. This is better than court TV. Derek about to update his resume. Receipts queen. I can't stop watching. Maya turned to Patricia. Patricia Chen, assistant manager. Numerous guest complaints. Failed mystery shopper evaluations. Your diversity training has been overdue. Your customer service certification expired and hasn't been renewed. Multiple disciplinary actions are documented in your file for inappropriate guest treatment. She clicked to the next slide. The pattern here isn't isolated incidents or personality conflicts. This is systematic discrimination that has created a hostile environment for guests and employees alike. Maya walked closer to the counter, her voice remaining calm but carrying unmistakable authority. When Richardson Ventures acquired Sterling Hotel Group, this Chicago location was flagged as our highest risk property for discrimination lawsuits. Our legal department estimated potential damages from pending cases. Derek tried to interrupt. Ma'am, surely those numbers are inflated. Multiple federal cases are moving forward. Our attorneys estimate settlement costs could reach high amounts if we lose. That's assuming no additional cases are filed. She gestured toward Jennifer's phone, still live streaming to thousands. After tonight's performance, broadcast to thousands of witnesses, our legal exposure has increased exponentially. The businessman from the lobby shook his head in amazement. In my years of corporate consulting, I've never seen a more thorough public audit. This is like watching a master class in crisis management. Maya advanced to another slide showing the corporate hierarchy. Derek Lawson reports up the chain ultimately to me. She let that information settle before continuing. When you disrespected me tonight, you weren't just insulting a guest. You were publicly humiliating the owner of your company in front of thousands of witnesses. Every person watching this live stream now associates a Sterling Hotels with racism and discrimination. Derek's hands were trembling, sweat beaded on his forehead despite the lobby's perfect climate control. Ma'am, please. I have a family. I have a mortgage. I didn't know who you were. You didn't know I was the owner, Maya agreed. But you did know I was a human being who deserved basic respect. You made conscious choices about how to treat me based solely on my appearance and your own biases. She displayed the employee handbook section they discussed earlier. The policy was very clear about discriminatory behavior, immediate termination without a severance, plus personal legal liability for reputational damages. Maya closed her laptop and walked to the center of the lobby, positioning herself where everyone could see her clearly. The crystal chandeliers cast dramatic shadows, and for a moment, she looked less like a tired traveler and more like the Fortune 500 CEO she actually was. Derek Lawson, Patricia Chen, you have 3 choices and I need your decisions immediately. She held up one finger. Choice 1, immediate resignation. You leave quietly tonight. I provide neutral employment references that don't mention this incident. You keep whatever professional reputation you have left. 2 fingers. Choice 2, termination for cause. This incident goes on your permanent employment record. No references from Sterling Hotels. Possible civil litigation for the brand damage you've caused. Future employers will see discrimination-related termination when they call for references. 3 fingers. Choice 3, corporate investigation, full human resources review, media attention. Legal depositions. Your names are permanently attached to this incident in public records and news articles. The lobby fell completely silent. Even Jennifer's live stream chat seemed to pause as viewers waited for the response. You have a short time to decide, Maya announced. I have other Sterling properties to visit for similar audits, and I don't have time for extended deliberations. Derek's voice cracked when he finally spoke, and Ma'am, surely there's some middle ground, some way to handle this privately. I've been with the company for years. I've worked holidays, overtime, covered for other managers. Maya pulled out a thick folder from her portfolio. Derek, this contains documentation of every complaint filed against you. Most guests didn't pursue their concerns because they didn't want the hassle of fighting a large corporation. They just took their business elsewhere and warned their friends about Sterling hotels. She opened the folder, revealing dozens of printed emails and complaint forms. Guest reports include comments like staff treated me like I didn't belong, manager assumed I couldn't afford my room, made inappropriate comments about my appearance, and asked if I was sure I was in the right hotel. Patricia stepped forward, mascara streaking down her cheeks. Ms. Richardson, I'm so sorry. I was following Derek's lead. I thought I was supporting my supervisor. I never meant for this to escalate. Patricia, you're both adults who made conscious decisions, Maya replied firmly. You chose to treat me with contempt and disrespect. The fact that I happen to own this company is irrelevant. You would have treated any black woman in casual clothes exactly the same way. Emily's voice came from behind the counter, small and frightened. What about me, ma'am? Am I being fired too? Maya turned to study the young woman. Emily, you're young. You followed orders from your supervisors, but you also participated in humiliating a guest. You laughed when Derek made cruel comments. You suggested my credit card had diseases. Emily's face crumpled. I was just trying to fit in. I didn't want Derek to think I wasn't loyal to the team. The question, Maya continued, is whether you want to learn from this experience or repeat these mistakes throughout your career. Do you want to be the kind of person who treats others with dignity regardless of their appearance? Or do you want to be someone who judges people based on stereotypes? Marcus stepped forward, his security uniform crisp. Ma'am, what about my role in this? I was called to escort you from the premises. Maya nodded approvingly. Marcus, you questioned the situation immediately. You suggested checking employee policies. You showed reluctance to act purely on assumptions and appearances. You demonstrated the critical thinking that your colleagues lacked. She paused, looking around the lobby at the crowd of guests still filming and watching. Marcus, you have a choice too. You can help me rebuild this hotel's culture, or you can find employment elsewhere. But your choice involves becoming part of the solution. Time is up, Maya announced, with the finality of a judge delivering a verdict. Derek Lawson, what is your decision? Derek's voice came out as barely a whisper. I choose to resign. His hands shook as he pulled his name badge from his jacket and placed it on the marble counter. The small piece of plastic and metal seemed to echo in the silent lobby. Maya nodded once. Patricia Chen, your decision. Resignation, Patricia choked out, her mascara-streaked face crumpling as she removed her own badge. I'm so sorry. I'm so incredibly sorry. Your apologies are noted, Maya replied without emotion. Emily, what's your choice? Emily wiped her nose with the back of her hand. I want to learn, ma'am. I want to do better. I don't want to be the kind of person I was tonight. Maya studied the young woman carefully. Learning requires acknowledging what you did wrong. Can you do that? I participated in humiliating you, Emily said, her voice gaining strength. I made assumptions about you based on your clothes and your race. I laughed when I should have spoken up. I was cruel because I thought it would make me fit in with my coworkers. That's honest, Maya acknowledged. Marcus Thompson, what's your decision? Marcus straightened to his full height. I want to help you fix this place, ma'am. What happened tonight should never happen to anyone, anywhere, ever again. Maya smiled for the first time since entering the hotel. It transformed her entire face, revealing the warmth that had been hidden beneath layers of exhaustion and professional composure. Then let's get to work, she said, opening her laptop again. Derek and Patricia gathered their personal belongings from behind the counter, moving like sleepwalkers through a nightmare. Other staff members would discover their terminations through corporate emails, but for now they simply faded into the Chicago night. Maya projected a new presentation titled Immediate Reform Implementation, Sterling Grand, Chicago. Emily, Marcus, you're about to participate in the most comprehensive hospitality reform program in our company's history. What you learn here will be rolled out to all Sterling properties worldwide. Jennifer Lee's live stream had reached thousands of viewers. Local news stations were calling the hotel, requesting interviews. The hashtag A Sterling Hotel Reform was trending alongside the original one. First, Maya announced staffing changes effective immediately. She pulled out her phone and dialed. This is Maya Richardson. Yes, I know it's late. I'm at the Chicago location and we have a situation that requires immediate intervention. Maya put the call on speaker so everyone could hear. She needed a top manager reassigned to manage Chicago starting the next morning with full authority to implement new protocols. She also needed to contact the diversity and inclusion consultant to schedule emergency training sessions for all Chicago staff within days. The manager she chose was a veteran who specialized in turning around underperforming properties through cultural transformation. Emily raised her hand tentatively. Ma'am, will I be working under her? If you prove yourself worthy of staying, Maya replied, your employment is probationary for the next period. You'll undergo intensive retraining in cultural sensitivity, unconscious bias recognition, and luxury hospitality standards. Maya advanced to the next slide, technology solutions. We're implementing what I'm calling the Guest Dignity Initiative, she explained. Every guest interaction will be monitored through a new mobile application that tracks satisfaction in real time. She showed them a prototype on her phone. Guests can report discrimination instantly through QR codes posted throughout the hotel. Reports go directly to corporate leadership, bypassing local management entirely. Marcus leaned forward with interest. That's brilliant. No way for local staff to hide problems or retaliate against complainants. Exactly, Maya confirmed. We're also installing new security cameras with audio recording in all public spaces, not to spy on employees, but to protect both guests and staff from false accusations. She clicked another slide, staff accountability measures. Every employee will complete regular unconscious bias training. Guest satisfaction scores will be tied directly to performance reviews and salary increases. Discrimination complaints will trigger immediate investigation by external consultants. Maya paused her presentation and looked directly at the guests who were still watching from the lobby seating area. To everyone who witnessed tonight's events, I want you to know that this is not representative of a Sterling Hotel Group's values or standards. The businessman stood up. Ma'am, I've stayed at the Sterling properties for years. This is the first time I've seen anything like this, but I'm impressed by your immediate response. An elderly woman in a silk evening dress spoke up. I feel terrible that we just sat here and watched. We should have said something. Maya nodded thoughtfully. Part of our new guest dignity initiative includes bystander intervention training for staff and guests. We'll provide resources for people who witness discrimination, helping them understand how to safely intervene or report incidents. She returned to her presentation, Community Accountability. Sterling Grand, Chicago, will partner with local civil rights organizations to establish an external oversight board. Community leaders will conduct regular reviews of our practices and policies. Maya pulled out a business card and handed it to Jennifer, who was still live streaming. This is the contact from the Chicago Urban League. She'll be our community liaison, ensuring that our reforms have real accountability beyond corporate promises. Jennifer looked at the card and then back at Maya. Can I ask you something on camera? Of course. How do you not hate them? How do you stay so calm after being treated like that? Maya considered the question carefully. Hatred is exhausting. Revenge is temporary, but systematic change, that's permanent. I'd rather spend my energy ensuring no one else experiences what I experienced tonight. She gestured toward Emily and Marcus. These two chose to learn and grow. Derek and Patricia chose to leave. Both responses tell me our reforms are necessary and possible. Emily, your shift has ended, but I'd like you to stay for a while to begin your retraining process. Yes, ma'am, Emily replied immediately. Marcus, I need you to escort Derek and Patricia from the premises and ensure they return their key cards and access badges. Then we'll discuss your new role in guest relations. Marcus nodded. Understood. Maya addressed the remaining lobby guests. The penthouse suite was finally available for check-in. But frankly, after tonight's events, she thought she'd sleep better knowing that real change was already beginning. She closed her laptop and looked around the transformed lobby. The same crystal chandeliers hung overhead. The same marble floors reflected the light, but everything felt different now. Emily, Maya said, tell me about the guest dignity initiative we just outlined. What does it mean to you? Emily straightened her shoulders. It means that every guest who walks through these doors deserves respect regardless of what they look like or how much money we think they have. It means that our job is to make people feel welcome, not to judge them. And if you see another employee treating a guest poorly, I will report it immediately. I don't laugh along or stay silent. I have a responsibility to protect our guests and our hotel's reputation. Maya smiled again. That's exactly right. Marcus, what's your understanding of your new role? I'm not just security anymore, Marcus replied. I'm guest advocacy. My job is to ensure that everyone feels safe and respected in this hotel and to intervene when they don't. Maya nodded approvingly. Excellent. Both of you just demonstrated more leadership than Derek and Patricia showed in their combined years of employment. Jennifer lowered her phone for the first time in a long while. Ms. Richardson, can I just say that watching you handle this situation has been incredible. You could have destroyed those people, but instead you gave them choices. You could have screamed and threatened lawsuits, but instead you implemented solutions. Jennifer Lee, would you be interested in a job in our corporate communications department? We need people who understand the power of social media and authentic storytelling. Jennifer's mouth fell open. Are you serious? I'm always serious about talent acquisition, Maya replied. Email me your resume. The lobby had transformed from a site of discrimination into a classroom for change. The same physical space now hummed with possibility instead of hostility. Maya finally headed toward the elevators, her worn messenger bag slung over her shoulder. Emily, Marcus, I'll see you both tomorrow morning for your first reform training session. Get some rest. Tomorrow, we begin rebuilding this hotel's soul. As the elevator doors closed, Maya allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. The penthouse suite was waiting, but more importantly, real change was beginning. In the following months, Sterling Grand Chicago displayed a high-star rating. Emily wore a supervisor uniform, greeting guests with genuine warmth. Marcus Thompson had become guest relations manager. Revenue increased significantly. Maya stood where Derek had crushed her credit card. A small plaque now read in recognition of the dignity owed to every guest. The Guest Dignity Initiative had spread to all Sterling properties worldwide. Discrimination complaints dropped to zero. The reforms became a Harvard Business School case study. Maya pulled out her phone, recording a final message. Discrimination still happens daily in hotels, restaurants, and stores across America. But change is possible when people choose accountability over defensiveness. She looked directly into the camera. Share your discrimination experiences in the comments. Tag businesses that need reform. Subscribe to Blacktail Stories for more transformation victories. Remember, your voice matters, your story matters, your dignity is non-negotiable. The Sterling transformation proved a systematic change was possible, one courageous choice at a time.